So the process that I went through to watch is Sam Raimi shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1 VO5 hot oil Super HD Turbo Remix was I went to Crunchyroll, downloaded the app on my smart TV. It's like, do you want to sign up for a free trial? I'm like, yes, I do. I've done this like 50 times already, just with a different email address every time because I don't want to pay for that shit. So I download the app and go to sign up, and it's like, oh, you have to go to the website, crunchyroll.com/sign up. And I'm like, okay. So I go and do that and sign up. And for whatever reason, it took me like 5 attempts for it to actually work because the page just kept, whenever I would click sign up after inputting an email address and password, the page would just refresh. Finally, it worked on like the fifth or sixth time. So I'm like, great. So I sign up, and then I go to sign in on the TV. TV is like, go to crunchyroll.com/activate and input this code. And I'm like, okay, enter the code that's displayed on your TV. I do that. Nothing happens. I do that again. Code is invalid. Great. I do that again. Code is invalid. Great. Generate a new code. I input that one. Screen on the TV just goes black. I'm like, great. All right, well,
I'm in.
I'll play it from my phone and just cast it to the TV then, because this app clearly doesn't work. So I go to the website, and it's like, download the app. And I'm like, okay. So I download the iPhone app for Crunchyroll. I go to sign in, and it's like, you must validate your email address before you can start using Crunchyroll. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I go and check my email, and I click on the link in there, and it's like, uh-oh, this link is expired. Send a new confirmation email. I'm like, all right. Uh-oh, this link is expired. And then finally, like on the fourth try, it actually worked. And I'm like, amazing. I'm finally in.
Ready to watch anime.
Ready. I'm doing all of this just to watch anime. Fine. So yeah, finally the email address thing worked. I go to cast it to my TV. Screen is still black. And I'm just ready to give up at this point. But finally, I go to the TV in the other room to watch it from there, and it finally works. But I'm like, I just wasted like basically the length of the episode of this goddamn show just to go through like a million different steps just to watch this bullshit.
And what has it taught you? It's taught you patience and understanding.
The way of the samurai.
The way of the samurai. The way of the samurai is trying to get anime apps to work on your smart TV. And not getting angry and destroying technology. That's what it's about. Welcome to episode 88 of the Laser Comb Podcast, where we are, where we comb through classic television with a fine-tooth laser or katana. I am one of your hosts, Neo Cal, of the clan
McLeod.
Neo Cal of the clan Nikal.
The clan McCal. There we go.
There we go. And I'm joined by Catstifer Siege this week.
Yep, Catifer Siege. That's me.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, we're reviewing Sam Raimi shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1, as chosen by. I want to double check who. Choice was this?
It was Vampiro.
Oh, Vampiro. And we randomly rolled,
As always.
and barring like multi-parters, right? Because that has boy has that bit us in the butt in the past, where like, oh yeah, let's watch an episode turns into like having to watch 2 hours of a show.
Yeah,
We
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, so we always re-roll so we don't get multi-parters, and we got episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah, so let's see. I just want to double check here. There's one like complete season of Samurai Champloo. I mean Sam Raimi Shampoo.
Yeah, so this is episode 2 of the 2005 anime Samurai Champloo.
Sharp like an edge of a samurai sword, the mental blade cut through flesh and bone. Though my mind's at peace, the word out of order, missing in the heat. Life gets colder. Oh yes, I have to find my path. No less walk on earth, water and fire. The elements compose a man. Opens my motor, so around is an amalgam. Steel packed tight in micro chip on my armor, a sign of all pro. The ultimate reward is dining out of war that odds with the times and wars with no lords. A freelancer, a battle cry of a hawk, make a dove fly and a tear dry. Wonder why a lone wolf don't roll with the clan. Only trust instincts and be one with the plan. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, some up, some down, the sons of a battle cry. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the name of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, some up, some down, the sons of a battle cry. Battle cry.
That was just
It was
a little...
always on my radar, always wanted to watch it, and then the years just caught up to me.
I had felt like I had watched it before, and indeed, when I watched this episode today, all the memories of watching it came flooding back to me. Me and my ex-wife watched this together, like back in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And what
thanks,
is
thanks, man, for reminding me of times with my ex-wife.
yeah, thanks, man. If you're
I'm just-
not here,
I'm just kidding.
yeah. If you're not here with us in video, you're missing a treat because one of us is a samurai cat and one
Yeah.
of us is a samurai. But if you
One of
are
us is a
watching,
samurai cat, and the other is a samurai stash.
that's right. But we're not reviewing Samurai Pizza Cats today. The basic gist of
Surprised that hasn't come up.
are we sure we haven't covered that? No, we
I don't think
I
we.
think we've just talked about it many, many times. Yeah.
I mean, who do you call when you want some pepperoni? Am I right?
Yeah.
Not me.
What's the second line? Something, something, and you know it ain't baloney. I can't remember, man.
I don't know. I haven't seen the show since like 1993.
Fair.
You know, what I did find out a while ago, though, when I was reading about it, is yes, indeed, it aired on YTV in 1993. It didn't actually air in the States, I think, until 96.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a few years later. We got it. We got the English dub way before them, which is odd.
curious. I wonder if they got a different dub
I wonder.
and we got like a UK/Canadian dub.
Could be.
So yeah, it's 26 episode. So it's just one story set from beginning to end, which is always a good sign whenever we're covering anime. If
Yeah.
it's something that's like, oh geez, there's 11 seasons and it like kind of off and on follows the manga, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be hit or miss. But I have a feeling this was solid. Everyone always told me to watch this throughout the decades.
Yeah,
but I
and
never got around to it.
as a quick aside to that, patrons, if you're listening, or potential patrons, if you pitch us One Piece or Bleach or any other anime that has like hundreds upon hundreds of episodes, I'm vetoing.
It's and as far as I think, well, Bleach is done, but
But
One Piece is not.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's still going.
Yeah.
which, well, good for fans of that show, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you knew one recently.
Yes, I dated one for
And boy
a
were
few
they a
months.
fan. Yeah.
They were a fan, yes, indeed.
So came out, aired from 2004 to 2005. Uh, and the gist of it is, like most samurai things, it's a fictionalized version of Edo, Japan, blending
Yep.
traditional elements with anachronistic cultural references, including hip hop.
Yeah, show
Well,
has good
that
music.
explains the yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's in just like Naruto, the artists appreciate feet pics. They're just zooming in on those bare feet.
And food.
The,
I've
and
noticed that.
food.
I've noticed that a lot of anime, they really like food.
And if you got food and you got feet in here, so what more can I ask for? Oh, that's right. You know,
You
we'll
got
get into it, but
you've got food, you've got feet, you've got just a couple dudes hanging out in a sauna.
you got a couple dudes hanging out in a sauna. Um, I I can't
I
wait to.
laughed. I laughed.
So did I. You got one dude who looks suspiciously like alternate reality anime Siege.
Yes, there's a character in the show named Jin. He boy howdy does he look like me in my late 20s. I even
Kimono and katanas and all.
I even I posted a photo, a side by side comparison in the Discord and to social media earlier. I'm like,
Yeah, I know. I was like, I saw it. I
like I
thought that watching it.
and that was one of the things that I actually remembered about when I watched through the show with my ex-wife is she had pointed that out at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because you would have been, yeah, you would have been that. Your hair would have been long, and yeah, I
Yeah,
recall. Yeah,
that
and
was the
thin,
time when I did look like Jin. I don't anymore. Like not even in the
not even
slightest, but
little. Yeah,
yeah, but at the time I did in my late 20s.
yeah. So the show follows Siege and Cal and I don't know some broad, uh, walking around ancient Japan.
Not my
Uh,
ex-wife.
not your ex-wife. Well, walking around Japan kind of implies that it couldn't have been them because that implies walking long distances.
which
Oh,
which
um,
yeah, she didn't like doing.
no. So yeah, the three characters. There's like a tea hostess, Fu, just Fu. There's like a vagrant or like an outlaw, Mugen, and there's I believe like a Ronin is like masterless samurai, right?
Yeah.
Jin. And I'm not sure what happens episode 1, but I get the impression that they owe her something, and she's looking for a samurai who smells of sunflowers.
I think she hired them, if I
Hired
recall
them or
correctly.
something.
Yeah, I
And
think she
part of
hired them.
the as they're going along, and they're bickering, and they're not allowed to kill each other until they help her. So there's some unmentioned contract that they're helping her find this samurai guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the gist of the
The
premise.
yeah, the sunflower bit a man smelling of sunflower leads to a amusing moment in the episode where where one of them is like, what the hell is a sunflower
What's
anyway?
a sunflower anyway?
Like,
And I mean that's a good.
what is a sunflower? And the other two are just like, it's a sunflower.
It's a sunflower. It's
And he's
it's
like,
a
well,
type of
he's
flower.
like, well, what the hell does a sunflower smell like? How am I supposed to know that?
I yeah, and I'm guessing, but who knows? It's like a historic fantasy, which means like the setting is. I mean, you guys have seen. Oh, here's another one. Feel free to pitch it to us if you join the Patreon. Samurai Jack, or something like that, or Afro Samurai.
I was gonna say Afro Samurai, yeah.
Yeah, which is like so. The historical fantasy is very loose. especially in Afro Samurai. I'd imagine much less so. They're like robots in Afro Samurai. Right. But
I
right away,
never watched Afro Samurai. I did. There was a game on PS3 and 360 though that I remember playing and thinking was
I
okay.
liked, yeah, I liked the game. I think you'd really like Afro Samurai. It's short, which means the writing is more direct.
Mm.
I find. Yeah, and speaking of like direct writing, there's no like animeisms watching this.
I was literally just gonna say, you know how I often complain about stupid anime bullshit in a lot of animes? There
Yeah,
isn't really any of that in this.
animeisms being the like there's a chibi moment where the girl goes or like hits a boy or like punches him into the sky and like a big like bump appears on his head and like that kind of thing. It's grounded, which is nice. And this is coming from someone who really likes like Space Dandy,
Yeah.
which is bananas anyway, and we really liked Fighting Foodons, which is there's no
Fighting Foodons is just utter insanity in like the best way possible.
in the best way possible, but there's not like anime isms in this, and that is good for people that like certain anime but are really hesitant to get into it. Like if you really
Like me.
if you enjoy let's say you're not a connoisseur of anime but an enjoyer but like an enjoyer of certain anime and you're a little bit more picky like Ghost in the Shell. I think this is grounded enough that you would like it.
And to be honest, I think this is why me and my ex-wife watched through it like back in the day was because of that. Like she suspected this would be an anime that I actually liked. And lo and behold, this is
um
actually enjoyable.
and C just watched the whole thing. I've only watched this one episode, so we'll see how we feel as we get into it. So the structure of the episode is similar to like road movie trope or like theme where they're traveling in episode to episode, right?
What
I
is
like
that? I think it's called the wandering hero trope. A lot
Yeah,
of
or
a lot of TV shows in the 70s followed that, like The Incredible
Littlest
Hulk.
Hobo, Incredible Hulk, Kung Fu.
Yeah, Kung Fu, The Legend Continues.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap follows that formula
Technically, it does.
in a different way, but it has like a sci-fi conceit attached to it. But it's still part of the like wandering hero trope.
That's true. I love Quantum Leap.
Yeah, we should review it sometime.
There's a good one. Yeah. And I tend to really like that.
And just to give like a quick like explanation for what I'm talking about when I say the wandering hero trope is a character or a couple of characters. The A-Team also followed this formula too. They're very episodic in nature, and the lead character or characters will wander into a new town or a new area or a new region, something. They'll be in a new situation. They'll solve a problem within that episode, and then they'll move on. And then on the following episode, we just rinse and repeat. There's actually a really good show called by writer-director Ryan Johnson. Beloved by Star Wars fans everywhere. But he's actually one of my favorite filmmakers. But he had a show last year called Poker Face starring Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, didn't you like that?
That show was great, and it follows that formula. It does have
see that you don't see that lately.
Yeah, no, you don't. That show does have an overarching narrative running through it, so it's serialized in a way, but also episodic.
I should check that out.
Yeah, I highly recommend, and it's only 10 episodes too. It's also been renewed, so there's going to be a second season at some point.
In tradition with watching anime, I'm eating a poke bowl with chopsticks. I
How dare.
How dare. No, there's an app here called Too Good to Go, and we get like leftover sushi from a sushi place before it closes, like all the time. So this is just like a normal like Monday for me.
So this is yesterday's sushi.
I haven't gotten sick yet.
You
No,
yeah,
it's the sushi from the day that like
no,
didn't sell.
I know. I was just making a joke.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole like concept of like day old bread and like day old like donuts and stuff. Yeah. Day old sushi.
I love getting cheap stuff.
I checked out that app based on your recommendation, and unfortunately, in the town that I live in, nowhere really,
Just 7-Eleven, I'm guessing, right?
just 7-Eleven, and like I think one other place. So I'm like, oh, well, guess I'm not trying that.
Yeah, I went on the subreddit and they were like, "Oh, I got the app is called Too Good to Go." I think it's just in BC right now. Maybe it's I don't know. But yeah, someone was like, "Oh, I got like 3 sandwiches and 2 wraps from 7-Eleven for like $8."
Not bad.
Sign me up in this economy. Um, so this
Which
app,
kind of surprises me because a lot of the time 7-Eleven will just sell their expired shit.
oh,
Like,
if you go there at midnight, you can just haggle with the dude like working there, and sometimes he'll just be like, "I don't know, do you want the rest of them?" Like it depends who's working and what time they're gonna like throw things away or whatever. But I went to go buy taquitos, and the guy was like, "Hey, these are like hours upon hours old. Do you just want all of them for the price of one?" Fucking like 7 taquitos, man, for like $3.
now I kind of want a taquito.
I want a taquito.
I have vegan taquitos in my freezer.
Ooh, and what you like toaster oven them
Yep.
or bake them?
Yeah, you can do either. But yeah, I think small things like that I'll cook in my toaster oven. But
Lucky.
what are they? What's the brand name? I think it's Lita's. It's
I
a
don't have a toaster oven.
it's a
And I
local
bet those would be
local
shit
company.
microwaved.
Probably, yeah. I don't I think it even says on the box not to microwave them. They're a
Yeah.
fairly local product.
I keep hearing about these air fryers. Um and here. All right, I'm dropping
My
the culture, the appropriate culture. I'm dropping it, folks. I'm sorry.
my uncle who has since passed was a big fan of air fryers. And
Everyone that I know that has one is a big fan of air fryers.
I am not, which is
Oh,
why I
you've
don't
had one?
have one.
Oh,
I've used air fryers before. Um, Frozen pizza cooked in an air fryer was like really talked up to me, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I don't know. I find it makes them too dry. Like it really dries the
Because
crust
it's
out.
yeah. I always wondered that, like in my head, and I'm like, I understand how that it cooks things much faster and how the concept of why it works, like an air fryer, but like, wouldn't it also make things like dry?
Yeah,
And
and lo
you're
and
the first
behold,
person to ever say that. I don't know, man. Like, if it's like, oh, but you can like cook like pizza in like 2 minutes instead of like 15 or like 20. I don't know, man. Go take a dump or watch an anime or something like that, and like put on the pizza in the oven.
speaking of taking a dump and watching anime,
Number two. So what's the premise of this? The gang is really hungry, and so they're like, okay, on the count of three, we're gonna reveal all of our money.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, go. And they've got like a few yen amongst them. Mugen even has like some like buttons and acorns.
This reminds me.
Fuck.
This reminds me of being a teenager and me and my friends like pooling money together to get to like convince someone to buy booze for us.
I've got Uno Nicolette and 1 cigarette.
Yeah, it's like okay, how much call your friend up because you know this was at the time when people still did that.
Hey, can I borrow $20?
Call your friend up and just be like, okay, you want to get a 2-6? Like, how much money you got? I got $7. Okay, sweet. I've got 10. So that's 17. We need like $10 more. Call up another buddy. How much have you got? Oh, I've got like $4. Call up another buddy. I got 6. We could split it 2-6 between the four of us. Let's do
Let's
it.
do this.
And then you call up another friend who has a mom who will like always who has a cool mom who will just always like buy booze for you.
Here's the thing. The kids are going to drink. This is how my mom was, right? So instead of like making them pay some stranger to like go in and get like booze for them, the way my mom figured, I guess my mom was the cool hippie mom, would be like, okay, but you guys have to hang out in the basement here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and here's another thing too. Um, Usually the moms who would buy booze for us were also kind of hot.
What's up with that?
There was always like a correlation between the two, I found.
What's up with that? No comment about my own
No, I
dearest mother growing up,
but yeah, there just always seemed to be a correlation there.
coincidence? I think
May-
so.
Maybe.
Maybe. So,
Or maybe it's because, they're cool like that because they liked to party when they were a teenager. And
There you go.
if they liked to party, they were probably hot.
well, there you go. Only hot people party. You heard it from here on Lasercomb.
I mean, I partied a lot when I was younger, so what does that tell you?
Don't mean to brag, but I may be a samurai who smells like sunflowers. Uh,
I don't
so
mean
what-
to say that I'm some kind of stallion here or something, but
That was like the worst. Whatever creature that was, it wasn't a horse.
that was like a horse like gargling mouthwash.
So what do? They find like a takoyaki. So fucking bad with like the different foods. The food that's like balls on a stick that you always see in anime.
Yeah, it's like rice balls.
Anime food balls on stick. What is?
And here's the thing. You know how I talked about like a lot of anime, they really like
Dongo?
depicting food.
Yeah. It's called
When
dongo.
I was watching this earlier, this really
Igarashi?
made me want to eat Japanese food.
Right? Well, I have the poke bowl, and I had sushi earlier, so I have fulfilled my side of the bargain. So they end up at this place, and they pool together their change, and well, wouldn't you know it, a fucking bird swoops down because they're like, okay, there's 3 of us, but there's 4 like balls, so how do we split this? And a bird comes down and steals it from them. And Jen is like, that bird is called I can't remember what he said it was, but it was something like a thief bird or like a
Ninja
vagrant-
bird.
a ninja bird or a vagrant bird or something like that. And it's like, and now you know why. And so they're really hungry, and wouldn't you know it, at a table next to them, a bunch of randos are talking, and they're talking about how there's an ogre harassing the townspeople.
Yeah. Typical
Typical ancient Japan things, ogres and but there's a samurai there, and they're like, wait, you're a samurai? And he's like, oh heavens, no, I couldn't. Your cat face just went nuts there.
That's because I scratched my nose.
Oh, it was like
Like this.
yeah, audio listeners, Catifer Siege is he's in ancient Japan right now, wearing a samurai hat. And the gist is, to get free food, Mugen like cozies up to them and he's all like, yeah. He starts eating their food. He's like, hey, that's ours. not mean to brag or nothing, but and he tosses the little stick up in the air and then like slices it in half before it hits the ground. And they're like, "Holy
Impressive.
shit, impressive! Here, let us buy you a bunch of food." And he's like, "I can take care of your ogre problem for you, but it'll cost you."
Listen here. We're just me and my guys, we're gonna protect this little town for you. But you know you're gonna there's a price you're gonna have to pay, you know? You're gonna owe us 30% of all your profits, and in exchange for that, we'll take real good care of you.
We're gonna need 30% of your ogres. And yeah, the shopkeeper, whatever, is like, "Oh, hey, it's nearly dark. You guys sure that you guys want to travel? Like it's like really dangerous. Oh, but there's this old abandoned shed near the hot springs, like up a ways. If you want to stay there, nobody owns it. It's like free of charge." And I'm like, that's a little sus. If he cared that
Yeah.
much, he'd be like, "Hey, you guys can stay here." So already there's the writing is good enough where it's not throwing it in your face, obvious that there's something fishy. But if you pay attention, you're like, "Well, what ogre?" It's like, "Oh, well, why do you want us to stay in this like one place? And if you were helping us, wouldn't you like want them to stay the night there? And because you're like a tavern or
Yeah.
whatever." But then it's revealed who the villains are. It's a one-armed man, and he paid bail to get a, a big old magician right out of the jail. Out of jail, he's just a big old ugly ogre dude.
Everyone was afraid of me because I'm ugly, and so I killed them.
And so I killed them. And then they said I was an ugly monster, and that made me sad.
And so I killed the rest of them.
It is a cycle that I do not like. I I kill because they call me ugly. They call me ugly because I kill. And then there's like a piano, and he holds like a Phantom of the Opera mask to his face. So one-armed dude and ogre dude are like, "Come on, let's go kill all the people that were mean to you." And the guy has like PTSD flashbacks of like, it's Frankenstein basically. Like villagers are throwing like torches at him. They lit him on fire. He's scarred. He's burned, and he like went nuts and like killed all the people tormenting him in this like flashback, which is probably why he was in jail. And it's revealed that this one-armed guy, well, he wants revenge on this Mugen guy, man. And he set up all this. He set this all up. The old man revealed that he set them up. He goes and talks to one-armed man, and he's all like, "Hey, I did as you asked. Okay, so just leave me go." And one-armed man is like, all right, but just so you don't go telling the coppers, hey, ogre dude, take care of this guy. And so they kill him.
Yeah.
And then we get a delightful scene where they're heading up the mountain. And well, what do you know? Coincidence. All these coincidences. A hot slutty bitch comes down the mountain, and she's like dizzy or tired or something like that. I can't. It didn't really explain, but like he helped her somehow.
He helped her somehow. The episode didn't really explain what he did
You
for her.
you remember that?
Yeah, I was
I
confused.
went back because I thought I missed something. Almost pull. I paid attention even though I was cooking when I watched this. Did not pull an Eric Burnham and watch it in the background. And I went back a couple times, and I'm like, what did he do? Did he give her like a piggyback ride up the mountain?
I can't remember.
Because it shows her. She's got like those like really high like Japanese hooker boots of the time, the platforms that like those ladies of the night were supposed to use,
and
hooker
a
boots.
very revealing kimono.
Yeah, and
And
he's
she's
all
like,
like, "Hey, I didn't help you for free," and she's all like, "What do you want?" And
I
the
don't
guy
have any
has,
I don't have any money. And he's like, yeah, well, there's other ways you could pay me.
and he looks at her with the creepy, slimiest. I won't use the word, but like that face.
Yeah, he's very sleazy here in this scene.
And he's like, maybe you can pay me some other way. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this lady just happened to be walking and didn't say what they did for her, but it shows the three of them continue on. And I guess Fu had gotten day drunk off of one sip of sake, and they've got like a little cart, and they're like carting her up the mountain. And as they get to the shack, Mugen says to Jin and the passed out Fu, "Hey, I need to go take care of some things. See you guys later."
Yeah.
And Jin's like, "Okay,"
And
and leaves
there's a scene with Mugen and
Hooker.
Hooker Lady in
Sorry,
inside
legitimate geisha, I'm sure.
inside the aforementioned weird shack out in the middle of nowhere.
Well,
And
she's in a different place in the mountains.
are they? I thought
Yeah,
they were
because
in
they
the
get
shack.
separated.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
doesn't yeah, and Fu, that's her name, right? The she gets kidnapped by one-armed man and Ogreman.
Yeah, so these are how the three are separated. Dude goes to fuck. Mugen
Yep.
goes to fuck. Jin goes to the hot springs, and Fu is kidnapped when she's sleeping it off in the abandoned shack.
Yeah.
Now, we cut to Jin in the hot spring, and well, wouldn't you know it, that cowardly samurai from down at the taco shack is hanging out there, and he's all like, "Oh my, I didn't expect anybody else to be here." Again, if you're sus,
Yeah.
then then there's a reason.
I laughed so hard because he starts talking about like fireflies showed up, and he was like
Because it's
talking.
nighttime in the show now, yeah.
Yeah, it's nighttime in the show. They're both naked in this hot spring, and he starts.
He decides to fill him in on some biology facts.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look at the fireflies. At this time, they're going to be really into mating. Sometimes even the males like to mate with each other. And Jin immediately is like, stands up and is like, well, time to go.
Well, time to go. So,
Which I mean, it is gay panic humor, but I don't know.
well,
I still laughed.
he's just not into it. But yeah, he's all like, the fireflies, they signal each other. The males signal the females so that the brightest and biggest like patterns can attract a mate. But some of the males have been known to attempt to mate with the other males. What do you think about that? And Jin's like,
Time to go.
well, I'm just good. Time for me to pick the old dusty trail. And but they end up traveling together, and then we cut to back to the cabin, and then we cut to Mugen, and the lady's very she doesn't waste
Forward.
any time. Forward, yeah. And he's all like, "Whoa, lady, you really want to get down to it?" And she's all like, "Oh, I don't pretend that I'm, like a dainty like maiden. I know what I want."
When a woman invites a man back to her shack at night,
It can only mean one thing.
there's only so many things that they could do to entertain themselves.
And Mugen's like,
Swing.
PlayStation? We playing Xbox? And so they get down to it, and they're making out, like doing like spitting sake into each other's mouth or something. But wouldn't you know it?
Going on 9.5
Mugen
weeks.
Mugen kicks her away and tries to spit something out of his mouth, and he's all like, "Bitch, what did you make me swallow?"
You ever see the movie 9.5 Weeks?
Seems familiar.
I saw it at way too young of an age.
Oh. No, I did not have not. Oh,
The
geez.
the movie is infamous for having a lot of sex scenes involving food.
I see. Well, yeah, then that fits.
And yeah, that's why I thought of it. And seeing something like that very inappropriate at a very inappropriate age, it's going to have one of two effects on you. It's either going to make you really into that, or the complete opposite, which
Or it'll
is
scare you straight.
what it did to me.
It scared you away from
Yeah,
food, and
yeah. That is,
that's fair.
yeah, that's not one of the things the siege is into.
So she reveals, he's like, all right, talk, bitch, before I kill you. And she's like, hey, it's known as one night mushroom. Normally not that poisonous, but mixed with sake, extremely deadly. And he's all like, well, I guess that's time to kill you. And she's all like, oh, I was like forced to by like a one-armed dude and an ogre. Uh, and he has the antidote, which I thought was convenient. Like, wouldn't it have been like smarter of the villain to just not have the antidote?
Yeah, like that's something you have to wonder about like all the time in media is it's like why bother if you're trying to take someone out, why even bother like creating and possessing some kind of like antidote or antivirus?
Now it'd be one thing if he could have accidentally poisoned himself, but like it was entirely reliant on this lady to like drink with Mugen and like get him to swallow this like mushroom like spum. Right?
Yeah.
So like why would that guy need anyways, it's revealed that hey, you need to go after these guys. So instead of killing her and being on his way, he's all like, oh, broads these days, and just like leaves her and goes to look for them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Fu is just mainly I thought she was mainly going to be a damsel in this, but there's actually kind of a heartwarming moment where she wakes up in some like, like kidnapper's shack. And
And Mongo here.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking of in my
Yeah.
head while I was watching the episode and kind of just thinking about what I was watching. I was referring to him as Mongo.
Right?
So Mongo gives her
He
backstory.
has his back to her, and he's looking out at like the sun, and there's fireflies everywhere, and he's like, as long as people do not see Mongo face, then they're not afraid of Mongo. And he's just a little philosophical, and he reveals his backstory.
And she's like, I'm not afraid of you, Mongo." And he's
And he
like,
turns
"That's
around.
why you Mongo's friend."
That's why you Mongos. Uh-oh, Mongo's talking about me. That's why I sneezed. That's why you Mongo's best friend. And it is kind of heartwarming because he turns around and he's like, no, don't look at me. I'm hideous. And she's all like, all I see is sadness. And then when you know it, one armed man comes and breaks up the tender moment they have, and he's like, time to go and kill Mugen McMugans. Mugen seems like something Jay from Jay and Silent Bob would say. Mugans. Uh
Moogie
and
Noochies.
Moogie Noochies. Moogie is walking along like the hot springs. They're all adjacent to each other. He's kind of getting more and more like disoriented as the poison's taking effect. And that's when Mongo makes his there's a time earlier in the episode where police find Mongo and Bongo, the one-armed man and Mongo. And they just kill them.
Mongo and Harrison Ford.
Mongo and Harrison Ford, Mongo and Harry, if you will. And well, when you know it, Mugen's he's still a pretty good samurai, but not when he's like dying from poison. And one-armed bandit is like shit talking him as he's losing, and he's like, "Oh, don't kill him just yet. I want you to suffer." And and take all night to die. I've got the antidote right here for some reason. um, but you're gonna die real slow in agony all night. That's why they call it a one-night mushroom. This time tomorrow, you'll be dead. And I'm like, yeah, he'd definitely be dead if he didn't have the antidote right there, homie. And it cuts to Jin, and they're in like a bamboo forest.
See, he has the antidote to torment him.
Mm-hmm.
Look
I mean,
at
it could have just been filled with nothing, but
look at this, buddy. I bet you want this antidote to make your dyingness
go away.
go away.
Oh, look. Oh, I'm just tasting it. It's so good. I'm not even poisoned and I like it. But I can't drink the whole thing right now. Maybe I'll save some for later. As he's getting his ass kicked by Mongo. And we cut to the bamboo forest, and the old man and Jin, he's like, well, now I suppose we might as well settle this now. I don't mean to alarm you, young man, but I am an assassin. And, I have enjoyed traveling with you, but it's nothing personal, you know?
I'm afraid you will have to die.
I'm afraid you'll have to die. And Jin is like, yeah, it was obvious you were an assassin. Oh, well.
And
in that case, let us not waste any more time.
If there's one thing I don't like to do, it's work overtime.
Well, time to die, Gary. And they end up samurai battling, and cool hip hop music plays in the background.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening? They're all like close to each other. They're like in mountainous hot springs, like kind of regions. And as the sun is coming up, the guy actually seems better than Jin, because he's like, oh, well, it's hello, kitty. It's a lot different than fighting in a dojo, isn't it? Because Jin like backs up and accidentally bumps into some bamboos. And I like how the old man's messing with him.
I like how that gets resolved too, because the one-armed man, I think, doesn't Mongo kill the one-armed man?
So back in the other fight, as the sun is coming up, he's like, no, don't kill him. He's like, let me mess with him a bit. And one-armed man is like kicking and holding his head under the water. And he's like, oh yeah, you can't breathe. You're so weak. Knees weak. Mom spaghetti. You're nervous. And Fu goes and tackles him to help Mugen pull his head out of the water and breathe. And he's all like, shame, I guess I'll have to kill you too, stupid bitch. And she's like, whoa, you call yourself human? And he's like, no, I don't.
And Mongo...
I gave up my humanity long ago. Oh, I do want to say one thing. A humorous point of the scene is all like, oh yeah, you remember me now, don't you? When you took my arm. Mugen's throughout the fight, he's like, I have no idea who you are, dude. I've cut the arms and like legs off of so many people. Who are you? And that infuriates one-armed man.
Yeah,
because he's based his whole life around getting revenge on Mugen, and Mugen's like, for you, it was the most impactful day of your life. For me, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes, right?
For me,
but you're right.
For me, it was just a random autograph signing at a convention.
Right?
It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah, exactly. And before he manages to go, he's like, I'm going to torture Mugen even more by killing this broad right in front.
And Mongo's like, no, my friend.
My friend. And Fu's like,
oh, I can't remember. Does he do like the Game of Thrones thing where he like crushes his head with his bare hands?
Oh, he crushes his neck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And kills the other guy. And but seeing that they're quarreling, Mugen takes this opportunity to grab his sword, and he's going to stab Ogrish. Ogrish is going to turn and kill Mugen, and Fu yells no, trying to stop them from killing each other. But Mugen doesn't drop his sword, but Mongo does. Like he's decided that to listen to her, and that's his undoing as Mugen like stabs him through the chest, leaving him dying.
Right.
Meanwhile, before Old Man is like, well, time to die, he looks over conveniently and he's like, oh, well, isn't that interesting? And across like the big pond, the hot spring area, he sees that his two employers, or
Yeah.
the one-armed man,
Y-
is dead.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at a couple of minutes ago. Because I like how this fight is resolved because he notices that his employers are dead, and he's like, "Huh, well,
Huh.
the guys who hired me to kill you are dead, so I don't have a reason to kill you now." And Jin's like, "Wait, really?" He's like, "Yeah, what's the point? I won't be getting paid. And if you're good at something, never do it for free."
You're good at something, never do it for free. And he's like, huh, well, and he like sheathes his weapon. He's like, I have a feeling that we'll see each other again. Actually, I know we will. Ta-ta. And he walks
But
off into the
he like sheathes his sword and is like, "Big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later."
see you later. And
Walks
walks off,
away.
turns his back to him and walks off. Jin's clothes, he was messing with him. Jin's clothes were like being cut
Yeah, I
as he was
actually
figuring out how and I like that storytelling because it means that they're not the best.
yeah. And I like how pragmatic old gay samurai is.
Old
Just
gay assassin
yeah, I like
ninja, yeah.
yeah, I like just how pragmatic he is. He's like, "Huh. Well, not
Later.
gonna get paid, so whatever. Not gonna kill you. Ta-ta."
He said, yeah, I like, hanging out and walking with you. This is nothing personal, but
A
time
job
to die.
a job's a job. It's
And
a
well,
it's a dirty job and someone's got to do it. So it might as well be me. Yeehaw.
so the whole thing, the people talking about an ogre, although I guess the ogre part rumors were true. The old man, all of these things, the hooker assassin, all of these things were this guy putting his life savings into killing them. And well, how'd that work out for him?
Yeah.
So Mugen drinks the antidote. Would have been hilarious if it was just the guy's piss. But no, I guess it's the actual antidote. Jin, presumably comes and finds them. But the episode ends with Mongo kind of being like, no, do not cry for me, because I can die happy knowing that I am not alone, that I am not so ugly that a beautiful lady pulls her gaze away from my face.
Blech.
But and he like reaches to her with his giant Mongo hands, and a firefly lands on it before he falls dead.
And then Mugen slices his hand off and he's like, "Just die already."
Quit being dramatic. He was going right for her throat. They call me the limb cutter.
Or like that scene in The Crow where what's the name of the big bad? T-Bird.
Oh,
He's like he like stabs the pawn shop owner in the neck and he's like slowly dying and he's like, "Oh, for Christ's sake, will you just die already?" And then shoots him.
yeah. But no, Mongo dies with a smile on his face, having met the unwavering eye contact of a girl. And I'm
Real,
like, that's
real.
how you turn incels, man. It just takes one girl to like look them in the eye for more than like 5 seconds, and
We should review that Crow TV show.
oh right,
Stairway
the
to Heaven.
Crow. Yeah. There was a game based on that.
Really?
Like
I
a
know
video
there.
game based on that. A really bad one, apparently.
I know there was a PlayStation game based on the second Crow movie, the Crow City of Angels.
Oh, sorry, that's what it's based on.
Yeah.
City of Angels.
The game is apparently quite bad. I've never played it. The movie is
I've
atrocious.
watched someone play it on YouTube, and the game is equally on par with the movie.
There were some.
And
There were a lot of terrible licensed games on the PS1 based on franchises I liked. Like there was a
oh, I
Spawn.
bet.
There was a Spawn game on PS1. Oh
Oh,
boy, is it bad!
Spawn game.
It's called Spawn the Eternal. I think IGN gave it something like a 1.5 out of 10. Yeah.
Wow, I've never even heard of that. Remember the Superman game for 64?
Yeah, I've never actually played it.
I have. It's holy lord. You know how people are saying, "Oh, it's like infamous for being terrible."
Yeah.
It's it's worse than like any content you see of it uh is better than like playing it. It's cool to mess around flying with like the physics of it for like a minute, and then you're like, "Oh, there's nothing here."
A decent Superman game is actually the Superman Returns movie game. It
Oh.
didn't get great reviews or anything, but I actually played through the whole thing, and the game's not short either. It's like a 20-hour game. But it's kind of structured like the Spider-Man 2 game where you go around the city and like solve random crimes, and then once you do enough like randomized events, then like a scripted event, there'll be like a scripted like boss fight or something. But
Oh, interesting.
the flight mechanics in that game are quite good. And because you're the Man of Steel, you're invincible. But what a health bar you have to watch, though, is Metropolis has a health bar. The city.
Ah.
It's not a great game, but as far as Superman games go, it's the best one you'll ever play.
Fair. And that's our review of Superman. But yeah,
Our
was there
review
anything...
of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman Returns.
Yeah. Is there any final thoughts you have on the episode?
On Sam Raimi shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1. No, not really.
Yeah, all right. Well, Catifer Siege. You just watched a random episode of Samurai Champloo. Would you tune in next week?
Well, it's kind of a trick question because I did watch through the entire series.
But just
But watching it now, I don't think I would seek it out. Like, I'm definitely not gonna like rewatch through it. But it's a show that if I stumbled across it through, like, say, channel surfing, which is kind of the experience that I'm trying to recreate with the concept of this show.
right.
It's just stumbling across a show while you're flipping through channels, like we used to do when we were younger. If I stumbled across it, I would watch it. And though I wouldn't necessarily seek it out, if I stumbled across it again, I would watch it again, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. If I had caught this random episode when in my young adulthood or whatever, I would seek it out and like watch it from the beginning. Like I thought this was exceptionally not above the bar. There we go.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
far above the bar in the anime that I have watched. So that being said, it excels. So yeah, that's a yes for me. And if it's on
Yeah.
from Siege,
Have you ever seen Serial Experiments Lane?
the only time I've heard of that has been from you.
Yeah, it was one of my ex-wife's favorite animes.
Oh, right.
I brought that up because that was another anime like this one where she's like, "Oh, you gotta watch it. You're really gonna like it." I liked this. I did not like Serial Experiments Lane.
Right. This is the one that you were like, what? This
The show
live up to the hype.
the Serial Experiments Lane is a show that definitely has its head up its own ass. Like it's like it's like high school philosophy level of philosophy. It's like a show that thinks it's being like really smart and really heady, but like
That's the worst.
when you really like stop and think about it, it's like they're not actually really saying much.
Oh wow, it's got a 4.6 out of 5 on Crunchyroll, which doesn't mean anything.
No.
Weebs will watch everything and everything.
Yes, they will.
There's different anime. There's people that don't like anime. There's people that like some anime, and then there's people that just
All they
consume
watch.
anime, and all anime is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've dated and been married to a couple of people like that. All anime is good, and all I want to watch is anime.
Yeah. Bad, good. I can't tell the difference. Anime. Num 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 num.
Yeah.
And with that soundbite,
Anime as all anime is good as I sit here and eat my bento box.
as I sit there and finish off my my Pokeball and with my samurai swords, and but we're moving from the land of ancient Japan, not even ancient Edo Japan.
Real quick, what's your favorite? What's your go-to things to order at a Japanese restaurant? It
I don't know, I
feels
usually just ask other people what's good.
well. I'll tell you mine. I'll usually get unagi don, which is
That's a good one.
a rice bowl with barbecued eel on it.
I'm a fan of unagi. Yeah.
I'll usually get a side of miso soup. A lot of places will actually just give you free miso soup.
Yeah, with any order. Yeah.
And
I do like miso.
and I'll usually get various pieces of nigiri, which is just rice
Ooh.
with fish on top.
Mhm.
I'll usually get ahi tuna nigiri and Thai nigiri, which is red snapper.
Mm, that sounds good. I like yeah, I like unagi and like anything. I like tempura is like hit or miss for me. Like some places it's really good, and then some places it's
Yeah, I find that just with deep fried food in general.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either like, holy shit, this is great, or it's like, ugh, I shouldn't have got this.
Or it's so gross you can't even finish it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, I can tell they haven't cleaned their deep fryer in 5 years.
Yeah. So that's like hit or miss, but I like tend to like tuna in things.
All right. Well, that was episode 88 of the Lasercomb podcast. Best way to support the show is to go to patreon.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. We're starting at the $5 tier. You get access to a Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lasercomb Patreon Super Show. And much like our listener and patron Vampiro did, you get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Join the Discord if you want to interact with us. Link, as always, is in the episode description. And bada bing, bada boom, he's a samurai, you know? Big fucking deal.
Look, I even brought out my samurai sword just for the episode. Eh. Oh, look at that. 440 stainless steel Taiwan.
I had
as is the traditional Japanese. Yes.
Traditional Japanese steel made in Taiwan.
Factory made 440 steel made in Taiwan.
Yeah. I've had a couple of katanas over the years. Nowadays I don't really bother, but
I only have them because I haven't gotten rid of them.
that's fair. And I mean, it was a staple for everyone's weed dealer in the 2000s to just have like wall-to-wall swords everywhere.
I feel called out. So we decided on next week's
So on the next episode, we're continuing on with Patreon sponsored shows, and this time it's from longtime listener and patron Lewis.
Lewis.
We've gotten some real bangers from Lewis. He pitched us Manimal, Nightman, Tech War, and what we're going to be reviewing on the next episode of the podcast, Invasion. He doesn't specify which TV series, but I'm assuming it's the 2005 Invasion series, because there is a more recent series named Invasion.
But that was like an Apple TV series, so
Yeah,
probably not that one.
probably not that one, yeah. So the 2005 Invasion TV series had a total of 22 episodes, and to figure out which episode we're going to watch, as always, I'm going to hit screen share.
Will it work with Cadaver Siege?
Ooh, we'll find out.
Hey, it did.
Huzzah! All right, one episode between 1 and 22. Here we go, where it stops. Only the cat's meow. 19.
The sun also rises.
There's a very good song by black metal band Immortal called The Sun No Longer Rises.
Oh.
So the sun also rises. Russell finally blows the whistle on Shura's island, leading to Russell being out of a job. Jesse and Rose deal with more bizarre changes at school, and the hybrids prepare as a new hurricane is brewing in the Caribbean.
Huh. I don't know what any of that means, but I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out on the next episode, which will be dropping in 2 weeks' time, because next week is episode 139 of Too Much Energon.
That's right.
And until then, I have been Cadaver Siege, one of your hosts.
And I am the Ronin NeoCal, your other host.
Thanks for listening. We will tempura you next week.
We'll catch a blade between our palms, which has been proven actually impossible, next week.